how is the Shinbo Initiative? Is it still produced by Shaft?
It is, actually, and I love Shaft.
Magia, Madoka, Mapuka.
Gander Ibuchi is so far away from this project making his puppets.
I mean, that's fine.
Good, I'm glad. I'm glad. Make more puppets. Make more of that.
Yes.
Okay, so while you push your agenda, give me a second so I can push mine. Why does this happen every time I'm getting ready to talk? Like, it just comes back to fucking puppets.
Because puppets are great.
きっと約束だよいつかまた同じ笑顔で
Hello, and welcome to Annie Chatbox, episode 143. Or, I guess I probably should have started with the tagline. Welcome back to the box, the Annie Chatbox, where we good old friends snuggle up in a teeny tiny space to talk about all things anime. Already said, but I'll say it again, this is episode 143, and my name's Cassie, and I'll be your host for today. This is my first day not high in more than 24 hours, 48 hours, so...
See, that can't even get a yay, because being high is fun. So
it's really fun, but like after you've been high for 2 days straight, which I've never done before, it's just everything seems so dull.
Well,
it's so weird.
Congrats. I'm glad you're here.
I'm glad I'm on the back to the spatial plane. Along with me are my wonderful, amazing friends and my amazing fiance Lily down the hall. How you doing?
I'm here. Here,
okay.
living.
Okay. Exciting. Next room over, we got Craig.
I exist. Anime's a thing, I think. I've been talking about anime in all sorts of media for the past, month now. Also playing a shit ton of Tokyo Mirage sessions. That thing rocks.
Not even a word from Lily. That's amazing.
I'm here.
Okay. And Cammy.
What's up?
Hello.
I am thinking now about that tweet that I sent you with the dog that accidentally got high. And I'm just yeah. Imagining you making the face that dog made for 2 days.
Yeah, basically. Just for 2 days straight. Nothing but dead faith. But we're here today to ride a high of a different sort, I suppose.
Ooh.
And that's seasonal anime.
Nice.
We don't want to hit it so hard anymore that we add it necessarily to our production schedule, but we do want to still take a peek every season and look at what shows each of us got and what we think should sink and swim. Back in the day, if they swam, they ended up on our review schedule, but now we're just kind of giving recommendations of what we think you should watch, which will be a swim, and if it's so bad you definitely shouldn't check it out, which is a sink. There is a possibility that some of the shows could come back later because we are now a completely host choice podcast, so we'll see how that goes. Fun. New way of doing things. New year. New start. Speaking of getting us started, Craig.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm alright. How about yourself?
You doing how do you feel about that anime you forgot to watch? Because we're going to talk about that first.
Oh, Pet? Okay.
Yeah!
Sure, Pet. The show that I literally forgot about until an hour ago. I watched all 3 episodes of it. Mind you, that may mar my impression of this show. Basically, if you didn't pay attention to the last episode, this is by Geno Studio, and they worked on Golden Kamuy and the Kokoku, which passed way back in the day, but we never reviewed. This show is basically anime Inception. It talks about how people have the power to enter other people's minds and basically can alter their influence their behavior, and basically I call it Inception because they basically in the first 3 episodes they tell this guy to essentially do something by changing a pivotal moment in his life, or a what they call a peak, which is a good happy memory, and the valleys are the bad memories, which basically detect people within the memories, and basically it's really weird. It follows the 2 protagonists. What are their names here? We have Hiroko and Tsukasa, they're working for the company under a guy named Katsuragi, and basically, I didn't really get a sense of what the, overall narrative is. I kind of was bored, admittedly. Whether or not this says anything, the mouse score is like a 6.3. I chose this because it was by the director and the creative team behind Samurai Flamenco, but for all intents and purposes, I would just say watch Samurai Flamenco rather than this show. I may continue to see where it goes from here, but I don't have any desire to keep watching this show. So, Pet, there you go. It's on Amazon Prime, too, so that's probably also another reason why no one's talking about it, or I've heard anything about it.
So it sinks.
Yep, it sinks.
And what? And what?
Into Mind Crush feet.
Mind Crush? You're gonna have to explain yourself a little bit there, friend.
So basically, they call it mind crushing to basically make it so they don't kill people, but make them
mind crush.
Basically, but
oh my god, it's so much cooler now.
Yeah, if only. But one guy, they threatened to mind crush a person by having him experience his worst memory, and one of the individuals that's trying to mind crush him gets stumped by feet, and it's kind of terrifying. Everything kind of falls apart and just gets really trippy.
What
guess.
kind of feet though?
Good question. What kind of feet are they?
Amorphous feet that come from the ceiling.
Are they moist feet?
I would imagine, yes.
Yeah.
Well, moving on to something maybe a little less disgusting. Let's talk about buttholes with Cammy.
Yep, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I hope so, or that lead-in really goes nowhere.
I can tell you about a show that really doesn't need to exist, and even more so does not need to be complete 30-minute episodes, and that is Oda Cinnamon Nobunaga! So, if you know anything about Japanese history, or you've even just perused my anime list a few times, you may know that there's a fuck ton of anime about Oda Nobunaga, because he's a very well-known historical figure in Japan. And this one says, it takes that Patrick meme from SpongeBob, and it's like, what if we take Oda Nobunaga, and then we put him into the modern world as a dog? And that's what this show is. While I was watching this, I kind of just in my head was like, okay, so an Americanized version of this would be George Washington being reincarnated as a dog. And especially when I put it in that sense, I was like, would I watch that? The main answer is if the dog antics were good enough. And there are a couple good dog antics in this show. It's really funny when he first wakes up as a dog and he's just like, oh my god, I'm so fluffy! And he's chasing his tail, and he's like, why am I chasing my tail? Why do I have a tail? Oh my god! And then he goes and digs holes, and he's like, this is so fucking fun! I don't know why this is fun, but digging holes is fun! And it's just it's kind of goofy and silly, and it got a few laughs, but unfortunately, it goes a lot into just referential jokes that I don't really get. And a lot of times, they make a very lazy artistic choice. Instead of just animating the dog, they put the dog on a mask, and then in the background you see actual human Oda Nobunaga, and it's weird. And it does that with all of the other historical figures. There's also too many shots of buttholes in this show. It's really, really bad and stupid, but I guess I tolerated it because dogs. Also, the best part of this show is the end credits, where it is actual real life dogs that they dress up as the characters. So they put the little collar on the Shiba that is supposed to be Nobunaga. They put a little eye patch on the French bulldog that is another historical figure I can't remember, but he has an eye patch. And it's just these dogs running around, and they put really cute little video particle effects in this song. And then after the end credits, they have the real dogs, and they're filming them while the voice actors are acting over them, and they highlight someone's local dog that they submitted a picture of. They're like, today we're highlighting Taro, and it's a photograph of someone's dog, and it's cute.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's cute and stupid. And if the whole thing was the actual dogs, I would definitely keep watching it. But I'm gonna give this a hard swim. And it can go into the fires that Oda Nobunaga died in, the fiery castle in which he died in. That's what it swims in.
A hard
Or
sink we're going into.
So,
Okay,
so it's
that
swimming
makes
or is it sinking?
No, it's sinking.
It's sinking. She's trying to trick us.
Okay.
Yes, mind control.
Mind crush.
Mind.
Yeah.
Cammy was Yami Yugi the entire time.
Oh no!
Yeah, it's dumb. Just watch the ending song, because that's fun.
Maybe you could just go skip to, like, all the endings of each episode just to watch those,
Yeah.
like, little speckles of fun and then leave.
I would love that.
Like, this show was great.
Someone just make, like, a supercut of all of the actual dog footage. That's a great show.
Alright, Lily, you are up with Majutsushi Orphen Hagure Tabi, or Sorcerous Stabber Orphen?
Yeah. So
It sounds really intense.
this is a reboot. I guess this is the Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood of this series. I guess it's based on a 90s light novel series, and it's done by Studio Dean, which is not a great sign.
Oh no!
So I think this show has like a 5.91 or something on my anime list. Yeah, it's like a 5.91. Yeah. And that's fair.
That's fair.
Basically the general point of the show is that there's like these mages or whatever, these sorcerers, and the main character is he used to be a student, and his like older female friend, like, who's really good at magic, ends up doing this crazy ritual, and she gets turned to a dragon, and he quits the school and becomes super cool looking and wears a bandana and like has a cool leather jacket and stuff, and he's going on this journey to like find her and change her back, and that's like the crux of the plot at this point. I guess because there was an original anime that aired in the 90s, late 90s, and that was apparently like 24 episodes of the plot with some filler here and there, because they were adapting ongoing material at the time. This arc in the show is 3 episodes long.
Oh no.
Which is all, in the current show it's 3 episodes long, which is all I watched. I haven't watched it anymore, so I don't know what he's doing after that. But, so, a lot of people are not very happy with it. I guess a lot of people, like, watched the old show and were really fond of it, and, so there's that going on for it. But generally, I think it's okay. I think it's fine. I have no prior experience with the old show or the light novel, but I think it's okay. It's very 90s anime fantasy. It's in line with stuff like Slayers. I think there's even a crossover manga between the two.
Shit.
So it's okay. It's very okay. I don't think I'll go out of my way to watch any more, but it's alright, I guess. It sinks, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes. Very, like, mediocrely sinks.
Yeah.
Listly and sinking into the ocean, just kind of...
Yeah, mediocrely sinking in the endless sea of 90s fantasy anime.
Nice.
There you go.
Well, we're already off to a great start, guys. So, let's round this out. Let's first round out with me, going back to the furry route, with Shobai Rock, Mashumairesh. Shobai Rock Mashumairesh. I don't know, it's a very strange name. Which never is brought up in the first 3 episodes, which is interesting. I'm assuming that must be their band name, eventually? That's the only thing I could think that would be for. That being said, I watched the first couple episodes of the show super blitzed. It still made perfect sense, or at least made more sense to me than it did to Lily, who continuously was looking at the small animals and going like, why do they look so small, and why does she look like normal human? And I'm like, because show by rock. That's how it works. Don't ask questions. But yeah, if you've seen the original show by rock, this is basically just the reskin. There's nothing very different about it. If anything, I would say that the first show by rock was a little bit more interesting because it was more about a girl being for lack of a better word, isekai'd into a magical realm where, everybody looks like a cute little furry animal and can rock their little hearts out. But this current one is about a girl who lives out in the sticks, a fox girl who lives out in the sticks, and she decides to move to the city to take an audition, and misses the audition, but meets some friends in the meantime, and then the second episode, nothing really happens at all. And then the third episode, they start doing, friendship bonding, but they also introduce the other boy band that has to exist, because that's also part of the formula. And it's strange. All the boys are, delinquents, I guess? But they all have different, levels of being delinquent, and all have different, weird personalities. One of them really likes their mom's bento boxes, for example. One of them, their tragic backstory is they're so sick that every time they fight, they, spit up blood for some reason.
Damn.
Before they run into fights, they, pop a bunch of pills. Stuff like that. It's just really weird. I'm not a huge fan of it, if I'm being honest. Mm-hmm. I can't say that it was, offensive or anything. If you really liked the first show by Rock and you're just looking to experience the exact same thing but slightly more mediocre, I would say go ahead and check it out, but otherwise, you really don't need to bother with Show by Rock, Mashumairesh, at all. It's pretty, though. The main girl, Fox Girl, is really aesthetically pleasing, but I can very confidently say I don't remember a damn one of their names, so...
I was just gonna ask.
Not very memorable.
I was just gonna ask if one of the animal girls was nice looking or your favorite designed one, because I know you really like the main girl from the original Show by Rock.
Yeah, and the new girl, her name's Hoan. She's pretty cute. She's my aesthetic. She's got the cute silver hair, and her little outfit's really adorable. I'll post a picture of her later.
Nice.
She also has those aquamarine colored eyes. They're really pretty. And the show is very aesthetically pleasing, but I don't watch anime just to make my eyes feel good, unless I'm high, which I'm not all the time, so it might be a great high anime, but otherwise it's just, I think there are way more things this season that are worth checking out, that should be at the bottom of your list at best, so it sinks into, I don't know, the sweat of your first live or something.
Ew, that's weird.
Yummy.
Yeah.
I mean, we already had giant feet earlier. Might as well just keep things on that train, I guess. Alright, round 2. I'm excited to hear from you again, Craig.
Okay.
Because I've heard a lot of really good things about this show, and I want to hear what your thoughts are. So let us talk about Eizouken ni wa te o dasna, or Keep Your Hands Off Eizouken.
So basically, keep your hands off Eizouken. I chose this because Yuasa and Saru. If you don't know who Yuasa is, he did Ping Pong and Dumb and Crybaby. Me and Cammy have talked about the show a little bit off and on. I think, Cammy, you may be farther than I am with this show. But I think we've described it as Yuasa's high school interpretation of Shirobako. In that, it stars 3 girls. We have, oh god, what are their names? We have.
I got this. Who do you want first?
We got Kanamori, which is the tall girl.
Kanamori's best girl.
We have Asakusa, which is the awkward girl.
Yes.
And we have Mizusaki, the rich girl.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, it's based about them all meeting up and realizing. Kanamori realizing that Mizusaki and Asuka just really want to make anime, and as Cammy said, Kanamori is best girl mostly because she doesn't take anyone's shit, and she has such an interest. All 3 girls have a very unique character design, but I think Kanamori has the most interesting of all of them. Her faces are very unique. I describe the show outside of Shirobako High School Edition is very imaginative. The girls want to make an anime, but Mizusaki can't be a part of an anime club because her parents forbade it. So they make the film club, the motion pictures club, Eizouken, to just basically as a front to make anime. And the first 3 episodes are basically them getting equipment, getting a studio space set up, a club room set up, and realizing that, they have budgets they have to contend with, they have, like, costs and, like, repairs to do to the thing, and every episode they have this sequence where it's, like, larger than life, and they're really imaginative, and you can see things, like, go frame by frame, just, like, still, like, storyboarding, as they're, like, imagining, like, contraptions and tanks, and they're, like, pitching an idea for an anime sort of thing, like a stop motion, like 3-5 minute little mini clip, and it's very cool. Like, I like the idea of it, and I like where it's going. Suffice it to say, it passes, it swims. I definitely recommend watching it. This is the highlight of this season, one of the highlights in my opinion, and it's a lot of fun. I'm not caught up yet. It's currently on, like, episode 6 or 7, but yeah, I enjoyed my time with it, and it's cute because I was, like, talking to Zach the other day, when they have these larger than life, like, whimsical moments where they fantasize about, like, them and, like, the contraptions that they're making, they also do, like, Lego movie style sound effects where they're just like,
They do.
oh yeah, we have a drill. It's a fancy ass drill. We're gonna be, like, repairing the space station, but in fact it's like the roof of their storage shed. So when they're making the drill sound effects, it's like
Yeah.
and so it's cute. Also the opening is really fucking trippy. And everyone has memed it by the now, so easy breezy, baby.
Yes. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I love this show. It's so good.
I
have. Oh, what's that?
What episode are you on?
I'm caught up unless they just released one. Get and I watched up to like 6.
Yeah, that sounds
this
about right.
Nice.
Yeah, this is one of the shows we watch every week, and I think I have 2 favorite shows this season. This is definitely one of them. It's so good, and I think what I really love about it is that the girls are allowed to be gremlins. Like, they're high school girls that are just, like, total gremlins, and it's fucking great, because that's a much more, like, realistic depiction of high school girls than, like, Moe-Moe-kun girls. And
What are you talking about? Me and Lily are still gremlins.
see? Gremlin, realistic. It's so good, and I feel like everybody can, like, relate to at least one of the girls, and you'll, like, love one of them. People have also said that the 3 of them are like the anime Ed, Ed, and Eddie, which I can also see.
I can't unsee it after seeing those images. I can't unsee it. It's so good.
Yeah, it's a wonderful show, and I think everybody should at least check out the first episode. Good shit.
Nice. Kimmy, I hope you're ready to keep talking.
I can. What am I talking about?
Your next show from your boy Cassie is Jibaku Shounen Hanako-kun, or Toilet Bound Hanako-kun.
Hey! Alright.
Talk about it so I don't.
No, that's what I was gonna say. I'm gonna get my stuff out of the way, and then I'm gonna pass a soapbox to Cassie, because we got a lot of ground to cover here. Okay. So Toilet Bound Hanako-kun, at least at the start, focuses on a high school girl, Yashiro Nene, who wants to fall in love, and she finds out about one of the 7 mysteries at her school, like supernatural mysteries, and it's Hanako-san, who is in the toilet. If you knock on the door and ask Hanako-san, are you there? She is supposed to appear. Which she does, and she finds out that Hanako-san is Hanako-kun. He is a boy, even though rumors said that he is supposed to be a girl. And she, just through a lot of hijinks, ends up being, like, tied to Hanako-kun, and therefore a lot of other supernatural goings-on that are at the school. And this show, I think, covers so many genres. You could say supernatural, you could say school life, you could say, like, romance comedy. It's one of those manga that, like, you know, when I think about it in retrospect, I feel like this could easily have been one of those amazing manga that is just incredibly overlooked and never would have gotten an adaptation. But somehow it did, and I'm so happy that it did. It, to me, and Cassie can definitely comment on this, while it blends so many genres, it does also feel like it has a lot for people that enjoy, like, kind of more of a shoujo dynamic. Not like traditional shoujo, but you have a girl and there's like some romance stuff going on. There's a lot of great characters. And I feel like so often now the anime market isn't trying to make these shows, and I'm just so glad that Hanako-kun got made. All of the characters are super, super, super lovable. The art style is incredible. They did a very good job keeping the style of the manga, even if sometimes that meant that there is minimal animation. This definitely operates as more of what I think is a moving manga than a lot of other anime. They utilize panels a whole lot and like chibis and other cool video effects and widescreen shots and things. And I've heard people complain about it, but honestly, it's not a thing that really bothers me personally. Because, yeah, I think the director does a great job with what he has. And I've said this to Cassie before, but it to me is like if they were going to skimp on one thing, like if they had to skimp on the artistic style and the aesthetic to get more constant animation, then I'm glad that they sacrificed fluid animation to keep the aesthetic, because that is like the first thing that pops out to you when you watch Hanako-kun. The style is incredible, it's beautiful, and that translates very well through the animation. The colors are vibrant, all of the character designs are amazing, there's great backgrounds. This is my other favorite show of the season. The show is fucking awesome, and yeah, it absolutely completely swims. And you know, I had an inkling that this might be a show that Cassie enjoyed, but let me just pass this soapbox over to Cassie so she can talk about Hanako-kun.
I will not talk about it for very long because it's your impression, but it is my favorite show of the season.
Yeah.
And if it keeps going in a decent way as it has this far, it could come back up at the end of the year. Who knows?
Hell yeah.
But I watched the first episode on a whim because I knew it was one of Kiami's of the season. I try and take a look at least one off of everybody's list if I have time. And I watched the first episode of this, and it just looks so very different. And the story was so very different from anything I'd ever experienced before. Mm-hmm. So then I went and promptly read 50 chapters of the manga. And I do think in some ways I would argue the manga might be a better experience. And if you read manga, I would recommend doing so, because they do have to skimp here and there in the animation. And I think that some of the beauty of the manga designs do not come through in the anime, but they come damn close. Mm-hmm. So if you're not really into anime, I totally recommend reading the manga. It's really, really good. But for the anime itself, I'm obsessed with it. I watch it every week at least 2 to 3 times, either in the Japanese, then the English dub, then back again sometimes to like check for editing material. So I like it a lot. It's really good.
Yeah.
It's my favorite.
Also has the people behind it that did work on Scum's Wish. I think the director.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, which is cool. Which is completely different kind of show, but
he did utilize some of like his panel stuff in Scum's Wish too, so it's fun to see like a little touch that he's had, but now he's just fucking like all in with like manga paneling and stuff. It's cool.
Alright, honey. I've missed you.
Did you?
I did. Did you miss us?
No.
Aww.
I can get that.
You didn't at least miss your fiance? Come on. You at least miss Cassie, right?
How can she miss me if I never go away?
She's right in the other room. It's fine. I've also been listening to her talk about Hanako-kun, so no.
Oh my god, I literally only talked for like 2 seconds!
Anyways, what's my next show? Give it to me.
Oh my god, Kyokou Suiri or Spectre.
Oh, okay.
Your favorite show of the season?
Yeah, so my first note, I took notes on some of these.
I'm so proud of you!
My first note on this is, a lot of fucking talking, god damn! Yeah, like the second episode, because I watched the first 3 episodes, second episode is just straight just fucking talking. The entire time! Anyways, yeah, this show is, I guess I get why people like it, like, I've seen people on Twitter being like, oh, this show's so good, and I get it. Probably not my sort of cup of tea. Mm-hmm. I guess, but I'll get into the stuff that I think is just not good, regardless of what you're into. I think the male lead is about as interesting as wet bread. He's just really boring.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, really boring dude who the main girl is like, oh, I want to, like, that's her, like, thing, is she's, like, super in love with this dude and obsessed with him and wants to go out with him and stuff. And it's very hard to, like, see why or understand why, or because he's just so boring. And yeah, and then he has this special power because he's, you know, the main dude.
Because main dude syndrome.
He has main dude, yeah, basically. So really boring male lead. But yeah, just like there's a lot of time spent, like, because the show is basically about like yokai, and like the main girl is basically like she's basically like worshipped by all the yokai because she sacrificed her eye and her leg to them as a child. Like, she got abducted by them as a child, and then they took her eye and her leg, and now she's like worshipped by them.
So she's like female, like Edward Elric?
It kind of.
Only he lost an arm and a leg and an eye, but whatever.
Yeah. So the yokai and all that stuff is really cool. Like all the like fantasy like integration, and all the little yokai are like super cute and they all make funny noises and they're adorable. But just yeah, there's lots of talking about like just going on about this shit. Like the second episode, the second episode is where I really started to get annoyed because basically she has to go visit this snake god at this lake because a crime happened where this lady dumped a dead body in the snake's lake. And the snake is trying to find out why. Because the only thing the snake knows is that the lady came up and was like, oh, I hope people find the body, and then leaves after dumping it. And the snake's like, what the fuck? Why'd she say that? And so the snake calls this girl over and basically is just like, hey, human lady that we all love, why did this other human dump a body in my lake? Like, why'd they do that? Tell me why. And then so the girl spends the entire fucking episode like going through basically conjecture.
Oh,
like
no.
not actually knowing, like there's no like, yeah, I know this for sure. It's just I'm assuming based on what I know about the situation of why this happened. And like so she goes through and makes like a story about it, you know, about what possibly happened, and the snake's like, huh. But why though? And and then like the snake will make this like minute like objection to her story, and then the girl is like, yeah, you're right. So here's a completely different way this could have happened. And then this goes on for 30 fucking minutes.
Oh, no.
And by the end of the episode, I was just so... Oh, by the way, this actually goes into the third episode. Like, half of the third episode is also still talking to the snake. So I was pissed off, because I was like, this is a lot... And I watched these two episodes back to back. I was like, this is a lot of fucking talking. So I was pissed.
Sounds boring.
Yeah, it was boring. And like and then so the third episode ends with this lead into the next like thing, which is about, I guess, this ghost that's like a very, for some reason they're really obsessed with the fact that this ghost has large boobs. Large breasted like female idol that died because like a steel beam fell on her, and so the idol like haunts people and shows up in the middle of the night with a large steel beam, and you can't see her face, but she's like in full idol costume or whatever. And the end of the episode, like the girl, the spirit girl, whatever, like fights the ghost or whatever briefly, and it's kind of cool. But like, I'm so bitter about episode 2 that I don't want to watch. I don't want to watch anymore, even though the lead into the next like plot line is kind of interesting. I'm just very bitter about that fucking snake.
I'm gonna become a patron, and I'm gonna pay to request Lily to just, like, walk through a grocery store and narrate, like, everything she sees, because I feel like nobody else can just describe mundane bullshit as super entertainingly as she does.
I agree, and she keeps asking me, Cassie, why'd you bring me on this podcast?
Why do you bring me
on this? And I'm like, because you're legitimately funny. And she's like,
yeah. And you use big words like conjecture. It's fucking awesome.
I wish I could use the word conjecture.
That's just a word. It's not big.
It's a big word!
Anyways,
It's a big word!
this sinks into the Snake Lake because...
The Snake Lake.
The Snake Lake, because I'm still pissed about that snake.
You want to go on a date to the Snake Lake?
No.
You go talk to a snake?
I mean, that snake was like, the snake wasn't even a bad snake. He was like, yeah, I don't even eat people because they got like cell phones and stuff, and that stuff doesn't taste good. But like, I'm annoyed because I've wasted my fucking time.
One last question. What did you think of the main girl's aesthetic? Like, because you're very stylish.
She's cute. Okay, she's cute. This show honestly looks really good. Like, it looks great. Probably because there's a lot of fucking talking and not a whole lot of moving. But it looks great.
Okay, noted. Good. Yeah, I thought she looked cute too, but I needed the Lily stamp of approval. Yeah, she cute.
Yeah, she cute. She cute.
Awesome.
Her eye. Oh, that's another thing I was telling Cassie about this. The opening doesn't start playing until the second episode. So me and Cassie watched the first episode together, and then I watched the next two by myself. But the opening plays in the second and third episode, and one of the shots in the opening is like the girl running, and then because she has a prosthetic leg and a prosthetic eye, like she trips and her leg falls off, and then her eye pops out of her face and just like goes towards the screen, and I'm just like, that's cool. Gotta look at that. Gotta look at that every episode.
Holy shit! Okay, I gotta look that up afterwards.
Yeah, Lily told me about it, and I was like, I don't know what to do with this information, so I just didn't say anything. I was like, well, that's sure nice.
I wanted to show her, but I was too busy watching, so I didn't. But yeah, you can
show me later.
You can look it up. It's pretty wild.
Damn.
Me and you can watch it later. That can be our bonding before bedtime, watching eyes pop out of people's skulls.
Yep.
That's romantic. Alright, I'm up. I'm going to talk about Nanabun no Nijuuni, or 22-7, which is a show that should be way darker than it actually is, because otherwise it's really fucking boring. This one I picked because it's animated by A1 Pictures, and I didn't see a whole lot of information about it. I guess it is based off a real band, but when I tried to look them up, I couldn't find anything about them. So I'm not sure who they are or who they're based off of, but it's an idol group, and they're recruited, and they meet in front of a gorilla stand thing at the zoo, because that's where you do meetups, I guess, and then they go to an underground sewer opening, where they are
What?
Where, yeah, I the entire time this first episode was playing, I was waiting for someone to get axe murdered. I was so excited. But these girls are taken underground into a fucking sewer, to this, like, really, to this really nice idol building. And they're like, hey, so we have all these facilities, and we're going to give you guys your idol debut, and yeah, everything will be great. By the way, we worship this wall, and it gives us information on what to do with y'all, so we must obey the wall.
Obey the wall.
Obey the wall.
Dang.
And the wall, like, spits out these, like, random things, like, oh, you guys should have a judging to see which one of you is the best, like, idol to start out with.
Does the wall have a face?
No. Though, I can add on to that. They, eventually get tired of this all-knowing wall, telling them what to do. So they go and buy a really stupid cat-looking plushie and put it on top of the wall, so that they can get mad at the cat.
So there's, like,
instead.
nothing special looking about the wall, it's just a wall?
I mean, it just looks like a fancy wall that you'd see in a church. I swear to God, I thought this anime was going to be about a cult, because they just keep going, must obey the wall. We must obey the wall. And these girls are like, okay, well, we're desperate for food and pay, so I guess we'll do this. But the thing is, like, the first couple episodes are, we must obey the wall, let's have a judging. Everybody, do your singing and dancing, and we'll judge you guys to, like, assign what your roles are going to be. And then the main girl is just this very quiet girl. She always has, like, her bangs in front of her eyes. She's very pessimistic about the world. She hates customer service jobs. And all she wants to do is live her life and take care of her mom and sister, and she could give two shits about anything else. So she reminds me a lot of Lily. But that's, like, the only thing about the show I liked, is that the main character reminded me a lot of Lily, and her, like, assigned girlfriend is also, just reminds me a lot of me. So I'm like, aw, it's us in an anime, that's so cute, too bad the anime sucks! But yeah, I keep hoping that they'll be like, hey guys, this is actually a cult, and like somebody will axe murder them, or they'll axe murder each other or something, but so far the wall's just like, do a judgment, LOL, JK, the quiet one's the center. You have to do what I say. And that's basically it. Episode 3 had a really cute performance on stage that I liked. And there was a really cute conversation between a girl and her mother. But other than that, I'm like, I don't understand the point of the wall. I feel like they just threw it in there to have a weird gimmick for an idol show, because otherwise it's just the exact same thing you've already seen with other shows, but not as good. I don't like it. It looks really pretty, though. Like, it's really, really pretty. But other than that, like, even the opening makes it look like it's just going to turn into, like, a horror fest or something, but it never does, and I just wish these idols would kill each other.
Maybe
That's all I want.
Maybe it will. Maybe you've got to give it, like, 3 more episodes.
Maybe I will, just out of spite, but you guys shouldn't really watch it. It's not worth... I mean, if it suddenly becomes worth, I'll bring it back, and you can find out by subbing to our Patreon when I mention it on a Box Bits tier. It's not going to happen. I'm probably not going to watch any more of it.
There you go.
But yeah, that wasn't so good. But do you know what does have good in the title?
Hey.
Healing Good Precure!
Hey!
Craig! Brr, 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 brr.
The 17th Precure in the franchise. It's Toei's moneymaker next to Dragon Ball and the One Piece. I wrote down here my quick synopsis. Nadoka Hanodera is no longer sick, ergo she wants to do her best to save the world. She befriends Latte, the dog that keeps getting out of her house, and she is the little scamp like a dog is, and along with Latte's 3 companions, a rabbit, a penguin, and a cat-chan, as they fight the pathogens that are trying to infect and corrupt the world.
The pathogens.
Yeah, the pathogerms, rather. They're trying to make the subordinates hot this season. I don't know why, but they're doing it.
I mean, they're not trying; they're succeeding.
Yeah,
they are very attractive.
They are. I watched episode 3 today. So basically, it follows the standard Precure formula, except this one is all about like veterinarian / doctors / like environmental like pro messages. Nadoka became Cure Grace in the first 2 episodes, and basically is helping like spirits of like various environments and whatnot, and they basically fight the villain of the week. And when the villains are beaten, they say healing goodbye. So I repeat that, when they say healing goodbye. And in this week's episode, Chiyu became Cure Fontaine, and next week we will get Cure Sparkle. So it's fun, it's cute. I really like the opening, and I really like the ending. The ending is CG and song-wise is really good. But suffice it to say, it is, at this point, my brand, also Lily's brand by association, because she put me into this hell, and now I'm too far in. So, I'm gonna continue watching this shit, because it's fucking good. It's fun, and it's cute. We will see where it lands in the tier list when it's a year later. But I think Cass and Lily, you've only watched, like, what, the 1 episode?
Yeah, we should probably catch up if Lily has time. Maybe later we could watch some.
I'm stuck in last year. I don't have time to think about the current Precure. I'm stuck in Star Twinkle land.
Okay.
Star Twinkle's really damn good, though.
How far are y'all on Star Twinkle?
38? 30...
Yeah, 38. So we're almost done.
Yeah.
Is it another, like, 52 episode?
No,
or?
59. 40 or 49.
49.
Yeah, 49.
Oh, I see. Gotcha.
Yeah. So we only have like 10 episodes left, roughly. And it's really good. Like, that show is always good, but the more you watch, the better it gets, and the last couple of arcs have just been really, really, really good.
That's typically how it goes
Awesome.
with a lot of Precure.
Yeah. Now that we've gotten, past the top of the Precure, let's talk about the Haikyuu to the top.
Hey! Crow
Let's talk
Boy's
about
back!
that.
Alright! Yes, so this is the long-anticipated 4th season of Haikyuu, and it's great, because it's Haikyuu. It's more Haikyuu. Like, it has great source material, so what more could you really want? It's adapted, again, by, I want to say, A1. I act like I know
It's
who, but
it's
let me just
production
check.
IG, isn't it?
It's IG? Yes, it is IG. I will say they've done a little bit of, like, they've changed the character designs up a little bit and the style a little bit, and sometimes it's noticeable, but you get used to it, and, like, Haikyuu's great. All of the characters are back, and it's exciting to see everybody. There are new characters that are being introduced that's exciting, and Hinata is going through a great character development arc, probably my favorite development that I've seen of him so far, so that part is really cool. Right now, they're just kind of warming us up with, like, a bunch of training camps, as sports animes tend to do, but I look forward to seeing where it goes. It's a weird situation where it's going to be, I want to say, like, 24 episodes, and we're going to get 12 episodes this season, and then 12 a season or two down the road.
Yeah.
So yeah, Craig, have you checked it out at all, since I know you're up to date?
I've watched the first 2 episodes. I also watched the specials that premiered before it. The ones that focus on your boys, Nekoma.
I love Nekoma.
I've talked to you about this back and forth about Haikyuu as a whole. I think this show is really entertaining. I like it. It's, like, got a lot of heart. I like the characters. I just can't keep track of all the teams and all the names at a certain point.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's even more teams than Kuroko introduced, and I'm like, when they were talking about, and also, well, again, maybe this is my bad memory, but, like, I binged seasons 2 and 3 in like the year that was supposedly going to be season 4, because I think originally it was supposed to be in October before they pushed it to the winter, and I'm like, oh shit, I completely forgot who everyone is, and it's only been like a year. Jesus, my memory, it's waning. But outside of that, it's fun. Hinata, as you said, is going through a lot. He is the shonen boy. He will do the thing, and he will train and beat the very best like no one ever was.
Yes, indeed. So, like, more Haikyuu, it's good. Like, what else could you really expect? It obviously swims. If you have seen all 3 seasons or whatever, check out season 4. Otherwise, you can catch up at your own pace and then check out season 4 later. It's good stuff.
I don't know the quality of the movies, but the movies are also on Crunchyroll. If you want, a shotgun shotgun your way through the franchise in abridged format. Also, Cami, how is it seeing your son Suki being a part of this?
I love him. In the first episode, he's, like, really fucking smug because he grew another 2 inches, and I'm just like, there's my shitty salty French fry. I love you. It's
shitty,
good.
salty French fry.
He's a terrible boy sometimes, but that's part of why I love him. It's great to see everybody, and there's actually been some good interaction between him and Hinata as well. So it's good stuff. I love Haikyuu, and I'm gonna watch it every week. So yeah, check it out.
Right on.
It's still one of my New Year's resolutions to finally fucking catch up on Haikyuu.
Hell
I don't know what's gonna happen, but
maybe one
I've
day
got
you'll
time.
do it.
Maybe one day I will do it. But what Lily is going to be doing is sinking into dream realms, I guess, in ID Invaded. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
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 Yeah.
AAL's masterpiece.
So this is a show by the Fate Zero, Noah Zero guy.
Yep.
Which is worrisome and also not. One of those shows is good and one of those shows is very bad.
And Recreators continues the bad train.
But I picked this up because the PV looked fucking trippy as shit, and it starts out pretty fucking trippy. This show reminds me of a game me and Cassie played recently, AI, The Somnium Files, which is on, like, every system, basically, now. And that's a game, that basically, the premise of both these properties is that there are crimes, and the main character essentially has to dive into the consciousness of, people involved in the cases to solve them. In AI, you tend to dive into the victim's headspace, whereas in id, the general idea is that when people are trying, like, have the intent to kill somebody, they, like, give off, like, certain particles, and if they trace those particles back, you can dive into their headspace in the moment of time when they, had the intent to kill somebody. And so basically, the episodes follow, like, so far, I only watched 3 episodes, but it goes through, like, the first 2 episodes are, like, this one case, and then the 3rd episode is another case. And it's pretty interesting. The art style is really different from what I'm used to. It's, like, this kind of rough, but also slightly more, cartoony, I guess, art style. Than what I'm generally used to from anime, but also it still looks very sleek and also very stylish at times. The animation is not always the, like, super best, but because the character designs are so, like, simple but also, like, sleek, like, it gets away with it.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
But yeah, the show's pretty interesting. I don't know if it's gonna be good, but it has a very interesting start. The premise is pretty good, and I like what it's doing with the main character, because he's like a convict, and basically that's why he works for the police. I guess to be able to dive into people's heads, you have to be some sort of, like, criminal. And so yeah, there's all this stuff going on with his backstory and how that ties into the investigations that he does. It's funny because every time he, like, dives in, like, I guess because he doesn't know who he is the moment he dives in, he, like, has to look around and, like, take everything in, and then he goes, right, I am the
Oh, interesting.
I'm the ace detective, fucking Sakaido, or whatever his name is. He, like, says this it's, like, the same lines every time, and he's just like, yes, that is me.
Yeah, look at my ID card, yep.
Yeah. It's cool. I enjoyed what I watched of it. Will I stick with it? I don't fucking know.
Probably not.
You probably should, so you have some anime to talk about at the end of the year.
Oh, dude.
No.
Don't do that to me. Don't make me talk about anime.
You're already doing it.
I guess, yeah, it swims in...
Nice.
Fucking subconscious.
Swim. I just realized that I didn't give Nanabun no Nijyuuni sync. It did. There we go. Sunk into the depths of the wall, I guess.
Cool.
Of course.
I don't even know what the wall is.
Absorb
into the wall. Absorb into the wall and die. I was gonna say the blood when everybody eventually snaps, but I'm just really sad that hasn't happened yet. Speaking of suspense and girls possibly, hopefully killing each other, I hope. Magia record, Mahou Shoujo Madoka Magica Gaiden TV, or Magia record, Puella, Magia Madoka, Magica side story.
That was a lot of Magica, Magia.
How is the Shinbo Initiative? Is it still produced by Shaft?
It is, actually, and I love Shaft.
Magia, Meduka, Megbuka, Mapuka.
Yandere is so far away from this project, making his puppets.
I mean, that's fine.
Good, I'm glad. Make more puppets. Make more of that.
Yes.
Okay, so while you push your agenda, give me a second so I can push mine. Why does this happen every time I'm getting ready to talk? Like, it just comes back to fucking puppets.
Because puppets are great.
I feel like Lily doesn't value my opinions and just wants to cover them with puppets.
You are correct. I value very little opinions and would like to cover them with puppets.
Oh.
It's not just you, it's in the world.
It's the world. The world's opinion.
I'll just stop talking then, anyway. Magia Record's okay. Like, it is the most okay thing I watched this entire season. Like, out of my entire list, it is passable and okay. I think that watching Madoka previously and then going into this, I think it feels a little bit how Lily explained Kyokou Suiri, and that the first episode had this, like, interesting premise, but wasn't a hook yet, and then they took the entire second episode to just sit and talk in a McDonald's.
Oh, I fucking hate that.
And it just was frustrating, and they also, like, introduce you to this group of girls, and you're immediately just expected to care about them, which I always have hated. Like, one of the things that I love about the original Madoka Magica is they very slowly drip feed you every girl's story and make every single one of them a sympathetic character, somebody you can, like, really care when something bad happens to them. And then one of the girls, due to reasons that I'm not going to explain, disappears, and I'm like, why do I care? Mm-hmm. Like, what? You have made no effort to make me care, Madoka. The only thing that really is keeping me is, one, the aesthetic and the music are just as good as the original. You're still keeping that kind of wild, crazy, somebody definitely was high on either meth or cocaine while drawing the show kind of feel, which is great. The music's really good. The character designs I like a whole lot, even though some of them are just basically rip-offs of the original designs. I feel like that's on purpose. I don't know. The only other thing I like is that Homura 2.0 is very sassy. Also reminds me a lot of Lily. She's very, very to the point about how much she thinks everybody else is below her. And I think that's great. Good for her.
That makes me sound like an asshole, but thanks.
She just doesn't want to interact. She's just very blunt about not wanting to be around other people, which is fine.
I mean, fair.
Yeah, she's just like, okay, this is my honest opinion. You asked for my honest opinion. What do you want from me? She also wears polka dots, and her transformation sequence is fucking stellar. All of the transformation sequences in this show are really good. They're very pretty, they're very aesthetically pleasing, and they are not sexual, so it makes me feel a lot better. There isn't really any fan service in the show outside of they're trying to make you think there's just tragedy looming in the background, but it just hasn't really sucked me in yet because they haven't made any effort to make me care. I think the one thing that got me is in the first episode, and this is a soft spoiler, but something just doesn't seem right in the show, and unless you're really paying attention, you don't realize it really at first, but, like, for example, one half of her room is completely vacant, or if you look at, picture frames, it looks like there's somebody missing in pictures, and they don't loom on them for very long, they just kind of want you to notice it, and it turns out by the end that, her sister isn't there, her sister's missing. Oh, that's an interesting way to show that information. And all we know at this point is she made a wish of some kind to help her sister's illness, and now her sister is missing. Which, to me, sounds like Kyubey pulled a Kyubey and was just like, oh, well, no sick sister at all means she's not sick anymore, okay, bye! But I'm not entirely sure if that's the case or not. It's the one little piece of intrigue in there, but otherwise, I just think it's just okay. I'll probably still watch all of it because I'm Madoka trash, but I don't really recommend this to anybody, especially if I was trying to get people into Madoka Magica. I would just recommend the original series. Like, so far this doesn't bring anything really new to the table, and it's definitely not as interesting, and I also am not a huge fan of entire episodes being standing around talking, so.
Fucking hate that.
It frustrates me. It's one of the reasons why it took me forever to watch, like, Fate Zero, because the first, like, episode of Fate Zero is just a bunch of people standing around talking to each other for, like, 45 minutes.
Yeah,
it really is.
That first episode's rough.
Anime shouldn't feel like you're in a lecture hall. Like, that just shouldn't happen in my personal opinion, or at least not, it's not something I personally enjoy. I feel, the only time I have enjoyed a lecture while watching anime was Cells at Work, and I learned a lot from that show.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're on our last round of impressions, guys. So, Craig, you're going to kick us off with what I hope is a glittering gem, and that is Hosekisho Richard-shi no Nazo Kante? Sorry. The Case Files of Jeweler Richard. Tell me about this gay masterpiece.
It's produced by Studio Shuka, which has done all the Natsume Book of Friends past Brain Space. Same with Durara Season 2 onward. Yeah, I chose this because I thought it'd be gay. It's not gay.
Aww.
I'm disappointed. This show's very okay. It's basically about and I kid you not, the main boy's name is Seigi Nakata, which basically translates to the hero of justice. So he saves the jewelry boy Richard from harassers and winds up working for him on the weekends. The episode shows Jewels of the Week, along with the characters, with major baggage to coincide with all of this. So I watched these episodes over the course of the week when going to work. This show's very okay. Basically, I can see why some people would be into it, but I'm really not. If you want to know, if you really want to know about gems and like the cut of a gem, the value of a gem, what the type of like heat treatment and all that sort of shit is.
Oh, you should watch Uncut Gems?
Yes, you should watch Uncut Gems starting Adam Sandler because that's
I thought you were going for a Hoseki no Kuni.
Yeah.
Yeah, you also yes, watch that Jewel show because that's better. I don't know. Opinions are interesting. Maybe you all would like this more than I would, but I kind of honestly expected a little bit more of this show than I got. Again, it's cool that you can kind of learn the practicality and like jewelry appraisal and all that sort of stuff, and how this Richard guy is like essentially the Vichy pretty boy who's like a master at his craft and not clearly insane like Adam Sandler. And how basically everyone from like every like ethnicity and religion comes to his shop in Shibuya, and it's just like, interesting. And basically Seigi's like, wow, a lot of people like come to visit you, and he's like, Seigi, don't judge them for how they dress or anything like that. Don't be an asshole. And Seigi's like, I'm gonna go make you some tea, Richard, because you and the customers will do that. And also he's trying to get with a girl in college, because this kid's in college, so it's not a high school thing, obviously. So that's different at least. But he's trying to woo a girl who's also really into minerals and rocks. So there you go, kids. You want to learn all about rocks? Go watch Richard Jeweler. For me,
Okay.
For me, I'll just go watch Uncut Gems.
Yeah!
Yeah, and
And feel really sick and uncomfortable.
Oh yeah! There you go.
So let's talk about sparkling of a different kind.
Oh.
Kiami, Runway de Warete, or Smile Down the Runway?
You are on it with these transitions today. I love it.
I'm sure trying really hard.
Yeah, so Smile Down the Runway is a show about two high schoolers. The first is a girl named Chiyuki, whose father runs a fashion industry in Japan, and ever since she was little, she has wanted to model the clothes in her father's line and make it to Japan Fashion Week. And they were like, sure, you'll be able to do that when you grow up, except she grew up and she was short. And in the tough cut world of models, if you are not tall enough or to a certain height, it's a little tougher to get professional modeling gigs. And then I think the main thing that frustrates me about Chiyuki's path is, and this is all in the first episode, is that she for a moment decides, okay, I'll try to see about getting modeling opportunities at other agencies that aren't her father's agency, because every time she tries out at her father's agency, they're like, no, it's impossible. You can't do it. We're not going to take you. So she goes to like other agencies and then immediately gets these fashion gigs. And I'm thinking, oh, cool. All right. So she's going to be like, fuck the beauty standards, fuck the system, I will succeed in my own way. But then she's just like, no, I want to walk in Fashion Week in my dad's brand, or that's it. That's my only idea. Like very blind shonen pro tag sort of attribute. Mm-hmm. And it's frustrating. Like she kind of frustrates me. I think that the other main character in the show, Ikuto, who is a classmate of hers that she gets involved with, is a lot more compelling. Ikuto comes from a family. He has 3 sisters, and his mom is currently hospitalized. Dad is nowhere to be found. So he is living under financial strain and has no plans for the future because he thinks he just has to work to support his family. But he has a knack for sewing, and you kind of find out that he has this drive to be a fashion designer. So, the two of them kind of have this connection, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna take on the fashion industry and achieve our dreams, and la la la. There's some good camaraderie between them. And again, though, I think Ikuto's really the main selling point of the show. He is a really awesome character. I'm watching this show currently with a friend of the podcast and frequent listener, Teresa, so shout outs. It's been fun to watch it with you. We both agree Ikuto is our favorite character. The show's definitely not perfect. The animation's a little bit underwhelming, and yeah, some of the characters are annoying. The show also really, abruptly will go from something, with a mild tone to, super dark shonen angst. It's in one episode, Ikuto is getting a chance to basically, intern with, this, fashion designer. And he's like, okay, I can get you started, just doing really basic tasks for me, sew up this dress or whatever. And you're like, oh, great, cool. He's getting a mentorship. And then literally a second later, the guy, tears apart his, the job he did. And he's like, this is terrible. I'm never going to accept you. And the music gets, all dramatic. And you're just like, what the hell just happened? And it just does, it just does that a lot. It feels like it is trying to go super hard into, fashion is just this brutal industry, which in some ways it is, but it feels very, heavy-handed in the way that the writing of the show depicts it. But I don't know, it's decent. It's if you're interested in a fashion show and you do kind of like those intense shonen stakes, it might be worth checking out. I'm going to keep watching it with Teresa, but it's very, mid-tier. If I had to give it a sink or swim, I would probably give it a sink, especially because if you really want to watch a good show about fashion, just go watch Princess Jellyfish, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then read the manga. It's great. It's super, super good, and it's josei. It's amazing. So this will sink into the depths of, I don't know, Chiyuki's depression every time her dad fires her.
Damn.
Yikes. Mm-hmm. Speaking of inspiring and popular manga, honey.
Ooh.
I don't know if I'd call it that, but
I don't know. I'm not entirely sure what the show is about. I'm not sure I watched an episode.
You did watch an episode. My last show is the best one. Yeah, the best one. My show is Dorohedoro. Oh, what a good show.
What a violent show.
Oh, it's so violent. So this is based on a manga that is kind of pop. It's like a cult classic, basically. I wouldn't call it super popular, but I know a few people who like it and have been talking about it for, even before this anime got announced, and it's kind of been on my radar, but I don't read manga, so I was like, yeah, whatever. It got now that the anime is out, and I've watched a few episodes, which is difficult because it's a Netflix show, but it's good. So the basic premise is that there's a city, and it's called the Hole, and I guess it's connected to this other side of basically this show's world where these magicians live, and these magicians use this black smoke stuff to do magic, and depending on the type of magician, they can do different things with their magic or whatever. Anyways, the main character is this guy. His name's Kaiman, and he is he's got an alligator head.
Yeah.
Or an iguana. He's got an iguana head. It's an iguana. That's the right reptile. And he doesn't know why. So he teams up with this strong lady named Nikaido, who also runs a restaurant, and she makes gyoza for Kaiman. And Kaiman's trying to find and kill magicians and hope that they can tell him something about why he has a iguana head and also doesn't have any memory. And so the first 3 episodes are just kind of them going around doing that sort of thing. And eventually the magicians take notice of them and are like, oh, we gotta stop this. Because we gotta stop these people because magic doesn't seem to work on Kaimon. Like, most of the residents of the Hole are generally scared of magicians and try to not mess with them, but magic doesn't work on him. So they're like, we gotta take this guy down. It's extremely violent.
You don't say!
The first episode, I managed to get Cassie to watch this with me. The first episode, a girl gets her face, bitten off.
Yeah, right off.
Like the front skin of her face is literally ripped off.
And they show it, and it's so gross.
Yeah, and
her
then
face is like hanging off of his teeth.
Yeah, and it's like hanging off his teeth. Oh, it's great.
He's
and
kind of flabbergasted by it too. He's like, "What?"
He's like, "Oh shit."
Well, you should explain the reason why her head was inside of Kaimon's mouth.
Oh yeah, so Kaimon. Yeah, so the way Kaimon like tries to get information about who he is there's. So inside his lizard head, there's a person inside his head.
God, the show's stupid.
So makes a whole lot of goddamn sense.
So when he bites down on someone's face, their head is like inside his mouth, and then they can see the person in his mouth. And the person in his mouth will basically be like, oh, you are not the one. And then Kaimon will like let go of their face and be like, what did the person in my mouth say? And if they tell him that he said that they're not the one, Kaimon will just kill them. Because they don't have the information he needs. So basically he bites this female magician's face. She's usually wearing like a skull mask or whatever, but he bites her face and like she struggles when he's trying to like take her head out, and it like rips
Another
her face.
magician's also pulling on her.
Yeah,
so
the
you
other
kind of see it coming, and it's like, oh god,
yeah, so
no,
there's
please
like
don't do this.
There's this like 30-second like thing of them just like playing tug of war with this girl, and her face is like getting close, like oh no, it's gonna rip. And Cassie was so grossed out, and I was like, this show rocks. Yeah, in another episode, someone takes one of the main antagonists. He fights with like I think it's like screwdrivers. And he takes a screwdriver to like the part that you like rip the nails out with. He takes it, hits Kaimon on the neck, and basically rips his head off. And it just shows the entire thing. It's super gruesome, but the show is also like, I don't want to make this show out like it's super like gross and just gory. Like it's gory, but it's also super bizarre and kind of goofy. And that kind of at least for me, it counterbalances the intense gore because it's also just very bizarre and ridiculous. And in that way, it reminds me a lot of like early JoJo and stuff.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I enjoy this show a lot. The second ED, which I think starts playing in episode 3, is a total bop. Downloaded that on iTunes and have been listening to it a lot. Just really fun. The opening too is also just a complete acid trip.
Oh, it is.
It's wild.
Is that where the girls like aggressively make
the girls
gyoza
aggressively,
or something?
yeah, making gyoza, yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's a total trip. Yeah, this show is super fun. It's like the only anime I'm watching right now. I'm like, I want to watch more of that. It's good. So yeah, it totally swims.
I'm really happy that you like an anime, but I'm also like, but why did it have to be this one?
I'm not surprised in the least bit. Congratulations.
I mean, I'm not surprised, but I'm also like, man, one of these days we'll watch a seasonal anime together.
It's totally your brand, and I'm
is very
proud.
much my brand. It's good.
From what I've seen, there is a very, very varied fucking muscular wife that looks like super badass.
Oh,
she's got like silver hair.
Yeah, she's part of, I don't know if she like becomes good or something later. I don't know, but
okay.
she's like with the antagonists right now, and so but she's like also super just fun and just
Yeah, she's
nice
swole.
person, and and she's also super swole, and yeah, she's good. The main girl is also like she's like tall and very she's built pretty well.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
yeah, the females in the show are not like the dainty like typical like anime females. They all have like different body types and stuff, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see that. I think let me look this up really quick.
I was about to say, it doesn't seem like Nikaido needs Kaima to like rescue her and crap like that. So
No. Yeah, she's good. Apparently I heard this somewhere and I'm looking it up on Wikipedia. The mangaka is actually female, which could be just an assumption that I'm seeing on Wikipedia, but I also remember hearing that elsewhere, and that's what it's saying on Wikipedia, so I assume it's
Cool.
Nice.
true. But yeah, it's pretty interesting that that's the case, because it's definitely, it runs in monthly Shonen Sunday, so it's not in a
yeah.
like a girl's publication or anything.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool that a female writer is making something like this and also getting published in a shonen magazine.
Sounds like it's your highlight of this season.
Oh, it's dope. I love it.
Nice.
Alright, my turn to talk about the exact opposite end of the spectrum. And that would be Koisuru Asteroid, or Asteroid in Love. And I'm really disappointed that the show isn't about two asteroids falling in love. That would have been so great and so original. But the show is just a really cute show about a young lady who really, really wants to join the astronomy club because she made a promise with a supposed boy when she was younger that they would find a asteroid and name it after them, because there isn't a asteroid named Ao-chan, and that's their name, and they want to get an asteroid with their name. Well, fast forward to high school, and she joins the astronomy/geology club because they had to be combined, and she meets Ao-chan again, but finds out Ao-chan is a girl, and then the show proceeds to get really fucking gay. And that's basically about it. It's just about a bunch of girls doing astronomy and geology things together, and it literally is exactly what it says on the tin. I am really happy that for a Dogakobo show, it hasn't leaned into really any fan service. There's a couple little bits here and there, but there was a scene where they worked in a cafe for episode 3, and I was so fucking nervous that there was going to be an upskirt at some point, but there wasn't. It was very tasteful. So good on them. It looks very nice. The stars are really pretty. All the girls are really cute. However, if you don't like cute girls doing cute things shows, you're gonna hate this. That's all it is. It's basically Asteroid Kaon.
So do you like it?
Yeah, that's where I'm curious.
I know you don't like Kaon.
Yeah.
I mean, I like this show. I think
Okay.
that it's nice. I think it's helpful that I'm also watching it with friend and listener of the podcast, Suki. Watching it with her and hearing her freak out over every hand-holding scene has been very nice.
Ooh, that means it's time for Kaon round 2 soon.
I
Got you
don't know.
warmed up. Got you warmed up with the Kaon light.
Oh, don't say it like that. I feel so violated.
Kaon Light. Diet Kaon.
Diet Kaon.
Anyway, if you like space, if you like cute girls, if you just like watching cute girls be super gay, then you should watch the show. It's good. I liked it. Don't have a whole else lot to say about it, to be completely honest.
So it does
Swim.
swim. Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I'm kind of burning out.
Well, good timing, because that was our last round, right?
Yeah.
It was, and I hope you guys enjoyed this new layout. It's basically the same as before, only we're just not committing to anything, because the older we
No
get, the more
commitment!
commitments are harder.
No commitment!
Fuck that shit.
I am forever committed to you, honey, and that's about it.
Basically, same. Yeah, I can't handle much else when it comes to commitment.
We good. But we've committed to saying that these shows were good, and some of them were bad, and some of them were just okay. So, I hope
And
you had fun.
Dorohedoro is amazing.
And Toilet Bound Hanako-kun is amazing.
Eizouken's pretty rad.
Hell yeah. Actually, another one that I didn't have on my list, but that's actually pretty good, is if my favorite idol made it to the Budokan, I'd literally die. Suki got me into that one. It's also gay, and it's about the cringeworthy parts of idol culture, but it's an anime, so it just makes it kind of goofy and fun. It's on Funimation. Go check it out.
I watched the first episode of that with her this Friday, and it was It was really pretty. Like, I wasn't expecting it to look that good. But it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
It does make me feel a little bit cringe because,
Yeah.
I don't know, there's just something about idol culture that makes me feel kind of grimy.
Oh,
but
yeah. And
I think they play that up, to be
Yes.
fair. They're not saying that this is normal behavior, but...
Yeah, they're not justifying it, but, like, definitely, there's some moments and you're just like, oh no, why are you like this?
It's played for kicks, but it's still, like, sometimes you're like, it's a bit on the nose. We need to move a bit away from here, please. But, yeah, I like that show a lot, too. It's very cute. I'll probably keep up with that as well.
Yeah.
What are your guys' favorite animes of the season? I know that mine is Hanako, and Lily said Dorohedoro, and Kiami had 2, and Craig?
Just Eizouken or just Precure, whatever floats your boat, really. Give or take, I'm not keeping up with shit weekly. I've just basically been in Rider Hell and playing Tokyo Mirage sessions.
Anyway, if you want to contact us in short form, you can do so at twitter.com/anychatbox. We post when we have episodes released. We're keeping up with our Patreon more, so keep an eye out for Box Bits information there as well. If you want to talk to us in long form or have an email read on the podcast, you can email us at anychatmeal@gmail.com. If you're listening to us on one thing, you can listen to us on many others. We're on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, SoundCloud, Spotify, and YouTube. We also mentioned the Patreon earlier, but if you want to throw a couple bucks our way, we have some cool stuff that me and Kiami have in the works, and a lot of us just have in the works in general, so definitely check that out. You can become a Patreon sub at patreon.com/anychatbox. Our current shout out to our Patreons is as follows: Sarah, Corpsey, and Carol, Suki, Paul, Trouble, Clef, and Drango. I am slowly dying.
In hindsight, me or Lily should have hosted.
This is fine. I'm okay. Everything's fine.
I was scared I was going to get asked to. I'm surprised nobody asked me.
It's fine. Everything's fine. You know where you can listen to Craig host things and talk a whole lot more? Plug Save Our Progress, this says. That's what I'm gonna do.
Did you say soundcloud.com/Save Our Progress?
I sure did. SoundCloud.com/Save Our Progress, where you can listen to all their 4-hour-long Into the Ear pods.
Oh, it's glorious.
I'm on one of those.
Cammy's also.
Cammy's on one of those.
Yeah, Cammy's on the film.
Yeah.
God.
So, with that being said, we're going to get out of here for tonight, but I hope everyone had a really good time. Love you, oyasumi.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.